Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon, because we know they had an incident at the weekend. And at the time of our review, we didn't know what the result of the investigation was going to be, whether Pierre Gasly would be receiving a penalty and therefore penalty points. Penalty points not too good for Pierre Gasly right now because it would lead to a race ban. As it happens, racing incident is what the stewards decided. So no penalty for Gasly, no penalty points for him either, and he can race at Baku. Sam, reflecting on it, I know we discussed this quite more on Sunday, but are you still in the same position? Do you still think that this should have been a penalty?
That is the luckiest man in Christendom. I swear to the Lord himself. And I'm not a religious man, but good golly gosh, how has he gotten away with that one? Yes, I'm still fully of the mindset that Pierre Gasly should have picked up a penalty. He should have received penalty points, and he would, in theory, then be banned for the Baku Grand Prix. The only reason that they've gotten away with this, I feel, is because he did it to his own teammate. And Alpine have basically gone, oh, no, it's all right. Don't worry about it. We don't mind. We like it when they hit each other. You know, that's literally how I feel it's gone.
If this was a Haas or an Alfa Romeo or any other team, you think this is a penalty?
Haas literally protested the entire race decision. So, yes, I have absolutely no doubt that Alpine have gotten away with it because it's an inter-team issue. And they've basically gone behind closed doors. They've gone, Pierre, you need to apologise to Esteban, otherwise he will implode. And Esteban's gone, come on, give it to me. And Pierre's gone, I'm very sorry, Esteban. Please don't implode. And they're best friends again. But basically, he's gotten away with this. A literal murder of a Formula One car he's gotten away with. I don't know how he's done it. He's a wizard. He's a wizard of the legal system. Oof. And he's got no points. Amazing.
You're a wizard, sausage.
You're a wizard, Pierre. He's got the luck of the Irish. He's got a 4-leaf clover tucked up inside his race suit.
Yes, yeah. Well-known Irish driver, Pierre Gasly. Pete O'Gasly.
Pete O'Gasly.
Pete O'Gasl. Oh, God.
Okay, so that was... Yeah, that was pretty conclusive. Sam still thinks that should have been applied, and also saying that if it was another team involved with Pierre Gasly, that they would have gone down the route of a penalty, thinking that was what influenced it. Harry, would you agree with that?
Yes, I would agree, and I am on the same. But I saw the interview with Esteban Ocon afterwards. Bearing in mind, this man once tweeted that Perez tried to kill him.
The angriest man in Formula One.
And then he last year tried to kill Alonso about 3 times. He was just like, oh, yeah, it happens. I'm like, there's no way that is just your reaction. Someone is taken, as you say, into a room and they've had to apologise and whatever.
He's that confident in the plan, he knows it doesn't matter.
Shut up, Ben. I get... Well, I don't get why, because it's definitely a penalty. There are some mitigating circumstances. I don't know. It was messy, wasn't it, by the time they were at turn 2 and there was cars everywhere. But there are, I get why, sort of. The one I don't understand, I'm sorry to go off on a tangent, Logan Corporal / Private. How's he gotten away with that? There's nothing.
He's absolutely
punted. They didn't even investigate it.
The entirety of the Formula One community have gone, can't do that. Can't park there.
Yeah, I mean, most Formula One Twitter almost lost their mind when they thought Max Verstappen had gone over his parking spot on the second restart. No one's really making a deal about Logan.
Just us.
He completely punted to freeze. I don't understand how this has happened and nothing has happened.
He's just like sneaking off in the background, isn't he? Like into the Australian city of Melbourne, just like,
can't catch me.
Just gonna leave now.
Bye.
I just shook at that. So yeah, the Gasly one, I can see how Alpine and Ocon probably went to the stewards' room and went, oh no, it was a bit of banter, but
it was a bonding exercise.
The Logan one, I don't know how AlphaTauri and Nick de Vries have let that one go.
It's because I think what the FIA have decided is, with the Alpine incident, both Alpines crashed out of the race, so they went, that's punishment enough for Gasly. He's retired from the Grand Prix. And they do this all the time. They base their penalty decisions on, is the car running, basically. Whereas the Logan Sargent one, Corporal, Private,
both out.
right? I think basically they went, you're not going to get any points anyway. So what's the matter?
So, okay.
We should be the stewards.
I hate it.
Correct.
I
Thank you,
hate
Greg.
it.
Nick De Vries is probably so sick of the weekend that he couldn't even be bothered to try and appeal it. It's just like, I just want this weekend done with. It's just been such a slog. I just want to go to Baku now. It's so what that Logan Sargent tried to kill me. I just want to go home.
Well, Yuki Tsunoda's rolling in points.
Yeah,
3.
rolling
It's
in
more
points.
than he's ever had of the season, isn't he? He's actually driving well.
Maybe this is a topic for another time, but Yuki Tsunoda is just like the scrappiest driver this year. He's just
I love him.
he's staying involved in everything. It's brilliant.
He's-
I have to say I'm with Sam on this one. I completely agree with him, which is a worrying statement, but one I'm going to stand by on this occasion. Firstly, the biggest problem is not the decision itself. It's the fact that it took 5 million hours after the race ended. What are you waiting for? Like, I appreciate they're both out of the race, so there isn't the urgency that there is for other decisions. But if you can make the Carlos Sainz and Alonso decision within a couple of minutes, you don't need to take 5 hours to make this decision between Ocon and Gasly. What are they doing? We don't want to be sat around like until 5 hours after the race is done, wondering what's going to happen. Just make the decision quicker. So that was my first problem with it. I actually, whilst I still definitely think it should have been a penalty for Pierre Gasly, I think what's probably annoyed me more is the way that the FIA has approached this, because yet again, there's just no consistency in the way that they look at these incidents. Frederick Ian Anderson back at it again. In the statement, they say that the stewards heard from the drivers and a team representative. Why? Why did you need to hear from the drivers and a team representative? You didn't do that for the Alonso and Sainz incident. You didn't do it for any other things that you need to decide when it's on track. So why should this be any different where they're looking at it after the Grand Prix, that suddenly team representatives are involved and drivers are able to make their case? There's no need for it. You look at the footage. The FIA needs to understand it's their sport. It's Formula One is their sport, and the teams are there working to their rules. Yeah, the teams aren't always going to be 100% happy with whatever you say, whatever law you lay down, right? You're never going to make all the teams happy, but it's your sport, and they're racing under your rules. You have to lead as a result of that, rather than pandering to them and letting them say their case. You wouldn't have done it for the Alonso and Sainz. You didn't do it for the Alonso and Sainz incident. You don't need to do it for something, even if it's investigated after the Grand Prix. And the statement goes on. I mean, after hearing from the drivers, we've decided to award. It doesn't make any sense. Like, you don't need to confer. You don't go to. You're not in a football match where, let's speak to this player. Should he get a yellow card for that? I don't know. Let's speak to the other guy. Do you think he should have been? Do you think it would have been worth that? Let's have a chat about this for about 5 hours before we decide whether the yellow card is needed. No, the referee makes the decision on the spot, and you deal with it, whether you like it or not. That's the decision that's made in that moment. Why can't it be exactly the same way here? I don't think it makes sense. They referred to it as a first lap racing incident, which was quite funny, given it wasn't. I understand why they mentioned it, but also not quite true. And then they ended the statement by saying both cars accepted and recognized that it was a racing incident. It does not matter that they accepted it. It doesn't matter that they recognized it. It's not down to you to negotiate and to speak to the teams and ask what they're okay with. It's your responsibility to independently look at the footage, say this is what we're doing as a result of it, and deal with it however you want to. Are you happy with it? Are you not happy with it? We don't care. That's the decision we're making. But it's just not the way the FIA operates.
You know why the Alonso one was different? I'm going to give you another quiz, Harry. Why was the Alonso one different?
Because Giga Chad Alonso.
Well, exactly. That's exactly correct. Because he's a genius, and he called it out over the radio immediately, and it was aired to everyone. Unlike the Gasly and Ocon one, no complaints were heard by the public, so they could keep everything hush-hush and deal with it behind closed doors. But Alonso ain't going to let anyone get away with that. He's like, no, you've hit me, game over, give him a penalty, give me my place back. And it worked. You call them out. That's how you deal with the FIA.
I liked Ben's analogy about the two parties agreeing. It's like the jewelry shop and the thief both agreed that this was
Can I take that ring?
this is a fair robbery.
Can I call the police? Can you give me 5 hours to get away? And then, yeah? Okay. Yeah, hilarious. Great analogy, guys. You sure that's my job.
Up in our game.
Oh,
Okay.
you've hit me in the face there.
Oh, sorry.
Oh. So bad. Jokes are awful. For the record, Sam, I actually agree with you on if it was another team, I think he is penalised for it. I thought it was a slam dunk penalty. You cannot go back onto the track after you've left it and just veer over to the right-hand side like no other car is going to be going faster than you. Of course, it was a penalty. So I agree with you on that. I also think the prospect of him getting a race ban was also a feature here. I don't think the FIA want to deal with that, and I think they found a way not to.
We just cannot be bothered.
I don't want that in my life.
Genuinely.
No, just let us go home. We're Australia. Let us go home.
I think they looked at that and thought, you know what? He hasn't done anything particularly dangerous in the last 12 months. It's just been an accumulation of little things. Can we be bothered to deal with the backlash of banning him? Nah. All right, let's go. Look, he can get away with it then.
Can't bother sign that. It's like a footballer doing a slide tackle badly in England and getting a red card for it. But then he's playing in a tournament in the World Cup that's hosted in Japan, doing the exact same tackle, and they're going, "Oh, that is going to take a lot of paperwork, and we're across the world, so should we bother with it?" No, just let him get away with it this time.
That's his legs out.
Stupid FIA.